Hello, in this video we're going to take a look at the second of the two Elunes coming from the Summoner's War crossover event, and this one it is going to be Elucia, a legendary grade healer class Elune. Her base stats are somewhat low compared to some of the other Elunes, but as a healer she does provide the ability to stay alive for herself and her team. As you transcend her up through the different grades and getting her up to max, her stats do become quite decent, with having her at a high attack and a decent amount of HP. Her base speed is at 110, which is very nice for her, considering that she can be used as a turn 1 Elune whenever you're fighting in PvP situations. Moving over to her skills, her first skill, Aqua Hurricane, is a skill that deals damage or heals as she is a healer. Unlike many other Elunes with their normal skills, this one does have a debuff that it can do and is not just a basic attack. The debuff chance is only 30%, but it can inflict a nature effect which does frostbite for 1 turn. And if you target an ally, it just does the heal. As this goes up and you level it up, it does not increase the chance or the rate for inflicting the frostbite effect, but the damage or the healing ability does increase. Moving over to her special skill, the sleep spell. This one is a heal for an ally if you use it on an ally, or it is a damaging skill if you use it on an enemy. In either case, it will apply a curse effect that causes sleep. The curse effect from the sleep of the skill cannot be resisted. So no matter what the resistance rate is or your tolerance level, it cannot be resisted. The only cases where it can be is if you have an immunity to effects, such as that from Trent's skill 2, which provides a immunity to effects. Then you can use this on an ally and it will not sleep. Same thing if the enemy has that skill on them and has that effect, then the sleep will not take effect. It does not go through the immunity, in other words. As the skill is leveled up, the amount of healing done to the ally does go up substantially, from 50 to 70%. Since it's a percentage-based skill, it really doesn't matter what her attack is or how much HP the target has. So in the case of healing a tank, a 70% heal is quite significant, and in many cases can be more than what you would heal if it was based on a attack or HP effect like most other healers. This does help her. The sleep effect that this provides is another benefit to her and can be used in what can help her be as a support in situations including boss fights. As any Elune or anybody that has the sleep debuff on them, the first hit that they take will wake them up from the sleep, but it also increases the damage by 50%. So if you're trying to nuke something down or do higher damage to a boss or an enemy Elune, sleeping them first before your damage dealer goes is an effective way to deal more damage. But in that respect, you would want to be using single hit damage dealers, not multi-hit damage dealers. So a good one that many people would use and that have built would be Chloe Van, and you could use that for a boss or for an enemy Elune by sleeping them first with Elucia, the target, and then immediately following it up with the ulti from Chloe Van or one of her skills, allowing it to do 50% more damage. The ultimate skill, Purify, is a good skill, and it is good a first turn skill or a later turn skill if you're using it for air battles. The reason is because many people always run Wei on their defensive side. With Wei running, she provides them with a really nice buffs, either for attack, which increases the attack by a significant amount, or by the defense, which also increases the defense by a significant amount. By running Elucia on that team and maxing out her skill, it will go up to removing 3 buffs from the enemies. This is all enemies, so it's an AoE attack. By doing this, it deals damage, and if it removes the buffs, it will freeze them also for 1 turn. This is very helpful when attacking enemies, especially if you have good AoE damage dealers. By bringing in Elucia and having her move after the enemy team, like for example the Wei on the enemy team, you can follow that up with a Purify to remove their buffs and freeze them at the same time. This will provide with added CC for your team to help prevent them from taking a turn the next time that they move, allowing you more turns to hit them with more damage. Moving on to her first passive, Nature's Grace. This one, when she inflicts a status effect on any enemy, it heals the ally with the lowest current HP by 100 and 100% of her attack. The number of allies that receive that healing increases based on the number of enemies afflicted with Elucia status effects. Basically, the skill 1 and skill 2 only have the chance of doing a status effect to 1 enemy, but her ultimate is an AoE attack, and if she AoEs, removes buffs, and freezes all of the enemies, then you have a chance of healing all of your allies by a good amount of healing. Since this is a passive, anytime that she applies a status effect, it will heal an ally, meaning that if you use her special skill to sleep an enemy repeatedly, then that can be helpful because it can keep you healed on an ally while also CCing and controlling the enemy side. Her second passive, Overflowing Vitality, it casts a buff that increases attack speed of any Elune that she heals by 20% for 2 turns. This enables your team to move faster and cycle the turns more efficiently to gain an advantage on the enemy. The third passive is a very nice one, and it helps her in supporting other Elunes, especially the other Elune added from Summoner's War, Artemil. This one automatically allows her to cut and gain a turn if anybody on your side's HP drops to 20% or lower by an enemy attack. She instantly will gain the turn. During that turn, the soul consumption of her skills is reduced by 2, but the soul gauge will not fill up. She won't be able to swap a turn either, and this does have a cooldown. You'll be able to see the cooldown easily on her because it'll become an icon as a status on her, showing you how many turns remaining on the cooldown, so that you know. This can be helpful if you have an Artemil and you're using the Artemil and the Elucia on an attack team fighting an enemy. This means that if the enemy does kill someone on your team, you can use the Artemil to revive them, putting his HP at 1, and this would allow the Elucia to instantly cut the enemy if they were going to take a turn, and then she can heal the Artemil so he does not die by the enemy's next attack. Moving on to some of her skill gem effects, her skill 1, which scales on her attack but also provides a healing, allows her to do damage to the enemy but also heal you. Doing the skill gems for whatever you feel. If you want her to have a higher healing ability, then put more of the green gems. If you want her to have more damage, then put the blue ones. Doing the recommended one does give her a 5% chance to stun. It's not significant, but it's up to you. But it does offer a nice balance between the two, as it does provide her with more damage, which you would probably be using more often than the heal. The special skill gem effects, which are blue, green, and violet, which provide for magic damage a magic damage increase, a heal increase, and a speed. The effect increases the crit rate of this skill by 5%, which is not bad because it is a decently damaging skill. Having an extra 5% crit rate is helpful. It also does do damage, so the blue is good. It does heal, so the green is good, and the extra speed is always beneficial. The ultimate skill gem effects, which are blue, violet, violet, is a 10% of reducing the cooldown by 1 turn. While the chance is not very high, it is nice and it can allow her to use the skill more often. As the violet gems also provide a speed buff, they are nice because it allows her to cycle her turns more efficiently and faster than the enemy side, allowing her to get more turns to either heal or to CC and control the enemy team. For the dimension slate on her, some good places to focus would be obviously her HP, as her HP is pretty low, but also physical and magic defense. Focusing on the physical, magic defense, and HP would be beneficial to her the most. Attack is also a nice stat, as well as attack speed. So any of the ones that you can do for those would be the best. The crit power, and evasion aren't that necessary. Accuracy would also be good, so she can land her debuffs, strips, or other abilities. As her special skill does not need the accuracy because it is guaranteed to land, the other skills do need the accuracy, so it is something you would still want to have some on her. Overall, the Elucia is a good unit. She is classified as a healer, but she does provide a lot of support for you when you're fighting either boss fights or if you're fighting in other situations against PvP situations, either in the air battles or in your guild battles. All of her skills provide some type of debuff, so accuracy is nice. The sleep spell does not need the accuracy as it cannot be resisted, but the accuracy for the others is needed, so make sure you do have some on her. The sleep spell also provides great utility for killing bosses faster, as it provides the damage increase on the first hit. So even if you're not using it as a control effect, it still can be used as a bonus in PvE as a damage increase effect. The Purify is a very good PvP skill, so it's something that you would want to level up. As you do increase the levels on it, it does go from a 1 to a 2 to ultimately a 3 buff removal, which is very good whenever you're fighting situations like against Weiwei that already provide 2 buffs on their team. It is a 1-turn freeze, but that is still a 1-turn denial. So she is good there, again, as a support. This skill does not provide a heal, but her passive does provide a heal. If you do land any of the status effects, she will heal your team too. So she is still an effective healer even when she is debuffing the enemy, which is nice, especially on her skill 2. It allows her to target an enemy, to CC an enemy, and at the same time she will still heal you because of her passive, because you are putting a debuff on the enemy target. This can also be good, and since it also cannot be resisted, it is good for landing it on teams that have high resistance. So any team that runs a Trent that gives the team high resistance already, or if they're running other Elunes that provide resistance, then she is helpful in that respect as well. So that's it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will respond as soon as I can. Thank you.